So, we start episode 1, and right away, the tone is dark. Like, not just, oh, this is a sad drama dark. No, we're talking about an actual nightmare scenario. Imagine being a kid, and instead of your parents fighting for you, protecting you, they just send you back. Like returning a package on Amazon, but the package is a child. Yeah, that's the kind of world we're stepping into here. And leading this twisted operation? Kim Se-Hee. She's not just bad, she's calculated bad. The kind of villain where you already know, just from her cold stare, that she doesn't lose sleep at night. And Yeom Jung-ah plays her with that icy perfection that makes you uncomfortable but fascinated at the same time. Then we meet Woo Tae-Sik. At first glance, he's a worker for this horrific system. So naturally, you're like, okay, he's one of the bad guys. But no, not exactly. He's complicated. And the show wastes no time throwing us into his moral dilemma. He's doing the dirty work, but there's something in him that doesn't fully fit this cruel machine. And that's where things get interesting. Enter Choi Si-woo, a kid who's not good enough for his mother. And let's just pause here. Not good enough? He's a child. He's not supposed to be perfect. He's supposed to be loved. And the mom literally discards him like a broken toy. That scene hit me hard. It's cold, it's cruel. And the way it's shot, quiet, almost businesslike, makes it even worse. No dramatic screaming, just rejection. Like Si-woo isn't even human to her. That's the kind of detail that makes you realize just how twisted this world is. Now Tae-Sik finds him. And for a moment, I wasn't sure what Tae-Sik would do. Will he follow orders? Will he just let this kid become another defect casualty? But no. Against everything, against his own survival, he saves him. And honestly, that small decision flips the entire narrative. Suddenly, we're rooting for Tae-Sik. Suddenly, he's not just some cog in the machine. He's a man trying to break free. But let's talk about Si-woo for a second. This kid, my heart breaks. He's terrified, confused, abandoned. And the worst part? Even when Tae-Sik tries to help, Si-woo doesn't fully trust him. And who can blame him? Every adult he's known has either judged him or thrown him away. Trust is a luxury he doesn't have. So when he sneaks off and calls his mom, part of me hoped, just a little, that she'd have second thoughts. That maybe she regretted it. But no. She says, flat out, that she wishes he were dead. That's not just rejection, that's a knife straight to the chest. And the way Si-woo just listens, the silence after, that scene ruined me. It's one of those moments where you sit back and whisper, wow, they really went there. Now, Tae-Sik isn't some saint. He's rough, he's direct, but he knows what's waiting for Si-woo out there. And when he convinces him to come along, I felt this mix of relief and tension. Relief because Si-woo finally has someone on his side. Tension because we already know it's not going to be easy. Then we move to the abandoned bathhouse. And let me tell you, the choice of setting is genius. It's eerie, empty, almost echoing with the ghosts of the past. But it's also symbolic. A place that used to be about cleansing, now turned into a hiding spot for kids society has thrown away. It's haunting. And inside, Si-woo meets Kim Ah-hyun and the others. Survivors, like him. Kids who've been branded defects. And I love how Ah-hyun immediately establishes herself as this protective, almost older sister figure. She's tough, but you can see the cracks. She's been through hell, and she's holding the others together with sheer willpower. The training scenes? They're rough to watch. These are children, but they're training like soldiers, like they're preparing for war. And in a way, they are. Because the enemy isn't some monster, it's adults. Adults who should have loved them, protected them, but instead, they're the predators. That flips the whole survival theme on its head. And just when you think maybe there's a chance for hope, the story throws Jung-hyun into the mix. Oh, Jung-hyun. He's loyal to Kim Se-Hee, almost fanatically. The kind of right-hand man who doesn't question orders, doesn't hesitate. And his presence shifts everything into danger mode. When he learns Tae-Sik saved Si-woo, it's like watching a bloodhound pick up a scent. You know it's only a matter of time before he finds them. And then comes the chase. That scene, intense, heart-pounding. Tae-Sik wounded but desperate, trying to keep Si-woo alive. Jung-hyun relentless like death itself following close behind. The sound design here? Incredible. You hear every footstep, every strained breath, every echo of danger closing in. It's the kind of scene that makes you sit up straight, gripping the edge of your chair, and Tae-Sik gets shot. That moment, I gasped. Because part of me thought, oh no, they're gonna Game of Thrones us and kill him in episode 1. But somehow, he keeps going, bleeding, stumbling, but refusing to stop. It's raw determination. And honestly, it made me respect him even more. He's not saving Si-woo for glory, he's not even sure why he's doing it. But he knows it's right. Then, the climax. Jung-hyun's pursuit, Tae-Sik's jeep, the crash, and just when all hope seems lost, Ah-hyun arrives. Perfect timing. And the way she sees everything, the wreck, the chaos, it sets up so much tension for what's coming next. You just know episode 2 is going to explode from here. Now let's step back for a second. Episode 1 is not just about introducing characters. It's about establishing a world where children are currency, disposable, and where survival is the only way to fight back. It's heavy, it's dark, and it doesn't give you room to breathe. But here's what I love. Even in all this darkness, there's a thread of resistance. Tae-Sik saving Si-woo, Ah-hyun protecting the kids. That's the spark. And maybe, just maybe, that spark can turn into a fire big enough to burn down Kim Se-Hee's empire. I have to say, though, the acting in this episode? Top-notch. Choi Young-jun as Tae-Sik nails the reluctant protector vibe. Kang Ji-young as Si-woo. Wow. That kid sold every moment of fear, confusion, and heartbreak. And Yoon Jung-ah as Kim Se-Hee? Terrifying. Calm, collected, like a queen on a throne built out of broken families. The pacing, too, excellent. It never drags. Every scene pushes you forward. From Si-woo's abandonment to the bathhouse introduction to the chase, it's all momentum. And by the time the credits roll, you're not just hooked, you're emotionally invested. You want justice. You want revenge. And you want these kids to finally find a place where they're not seen as defects. And here's the thing. Shows like this aren't easy to watch. They're not comfortable. But that's the point. They force you to confront uncomfortable truths about society, about how we treat vulnerability, about how cruel adults can be. And that's what makes it powerful. So yeah, episode 1 of The Defects isn't just a story starter, it's a gut punch. And honestly, I'm here for it. So now that we've reached that explosive ending with Tae-Sik barely escaping, Ah-hyun arriving just in time, and Jung-hyun wrecking the jeep, let's talk about where that leaves us. Because honestly, that last 10 minutes of episode 1 didn't feel like a regular TV drama. It felt like a survival thriller film. Everything was moving so fast, but at the same time, it all made sense. And the weight of those moments stays with you even after the episode cuts to black. Let's circle back to Tae-Sik. He's fascinating, isn't he? He starts off as this almost faceless part of the machine, just another guy doing the dirty work for Kim Se-Hee's empire. But the show immediately forces us to ask, is he really one of them? Or has he just been surviving within their system until he finally snaps? And episode 1 answers that question, but not with some cheesy, he has a change of heart cliche. No, it's subtle. It's in the way he hesitates. The way he looks at Si-woo like he's not just another disposable kid. That look, that hesitation, is everything. It tells us he's been questioning this life for a long time. He just needed a reason. And Si-woo becomes that reason. But of course, saving someone in this world isn't heroic. It's dangerous. Tae-Sik knows what he's risking, and yet he still does it. That's what makes him such a compelling character to root for. He's not clean, he's not perfect, but he's trying to do something right in a system built on wrong. And those kinds of characters, they always make for the best stories. Now let's dive into Si-woo again, because wow, his journey in just one episode is brutal. Imagine being a kid, your entire self-worth tied to how much you can impress your parents. And when you don't measure up, they literally toss you out. And then hearing with your own ears that your mother wishes you were dead. That's trauma layered on trauma. And Kang Ji-young really makes you feel that despair. His silence, his hesitation, the way he curls into himself, it's painfully real. And honestly, it makes you angry. Angry at the mom. Angry at the system. Angry at every adult in this story who sees kids as disposable property instead of actual human beings. And that's where Kim Se-Hee comes back into the picture. Can we talk about how terrifying she is? Because she doesn't need to scream. She doesn't need to throw tantrums. Her calmness is the scariest part. She's running an empire of child trafficking and murder, and she treats it like a business. Like she's managing stock in a warehouse. That's what makes her chilling. Because you know people like her exist in real life. People who can look at suffering, turn it into numbers, and sleep like babies at night. Yum Jung-an nails that vibe. Every time she's on screen, I get this cold feeling in my chest, like, oh no, something terrible is about to happen. And then there's Jung Hyun. Honestly, he's the perfect contrast to Tae-Sik. Where Tae-Sik hesitates, Jung Hyun doesn't. He's loyal, efficient, merciless. The kind of guy who doesn't care about right or wrong, just about following orders. And that makes him scarier than Kim Se-Hee sometimes, because he's the one out in the field, doing the dirty work. You can't reason with him. You can't plead. He's like a machine. And when he's on Tae-Sik's tail, it feels like death itself is closing in. That Jeep crash scene? Pure adrenaline. But here's the detail I loved. Even though Jung Hyun seems unstoppable, the show doesn't make him cartoonish. He's not some one-dimensional hitman. You can tell he believes in what he's doing. He sees himself as the one keeping order, maintaining the system. And that twisted sense of loyalty is what makes him dangerous. Because a villain who thinks they're evil is one thing. But a villain who thinks they're doing the right thing? That's the kind that never stops. Now let's shift back to Ah-hyun and the other kids. I think they're going to be the heart of this show moving forward. That bathhouse scene where we first see them, it's unsettling, but also kind of inspiring. These are kids who should be in school, playing, having friends, but instead they're training like soldiers. And Ah-hyun, she's clearly carrying so much weight on her shoulders. She's young herself, but she's acting like a leader, a protector. You can feel her anger simmering underneath her calm surface. She's been through this system, she knows how cruel it is, and she's determined to never let it break her again. That dynamic, the group of kids turning their trauma into survival skills, is going to be powerful. And it makes me wonder, how far are they willing to go? Because when children are forced into survival mode, the line between innocence and brutality gets blurry really fast. And I have a feeling the show isn't going to shy away from showing that. What's brilliant about this first episode is that it doesn't waste time. It doesn't sugarcoat. From the very beginning, you know exactly what kind of ride you're on. This isn't a feel-good drama. It's not about magical reunions with loving families. It's about survival. About kids and outcasts carving out their own place in a world that wants them erased. And that's what makes it so compelling. Let's be real though, this episode is heavy. I mean, I finished it and had to sit in silence for a minute, but that's also why it works. The heaviness forces you to care. You don't just watch passively, you feel it. You get angry, you get sad, you get tense, and then you want more, because you need to see these characters fight back. You need to see justice, even if it's messy and bloody. And that brings me back to Tae-Sik again. He's not just saving Si-woo, he's indirectly joining Ah-hyun's fight. He's shifting sides, even if he hasn't admitted it yet. And the fact that he takes a bullet and still keeps going? That's the kind of thing that builds a legend. He's planting the seed for rebellion. Maybe he doesn't even realize it yet, but he's about to become a huge threat to Kim Se-Hee's empire. And honestly, I can't wait to see how that unfolds. I also want to point out how visually stunning this first episode is. The cinematography is dark, muted, almost suffocating. You never feel fully safe watching it. Even the so-called safe spaces like the bathhouse are drenched in shadows. It's beautiful, but it also keeps your guard up. And that's exactly how it should feel. Because in this world, nowhere is truly safe. By the end of episode 1, the stage is perfectly set. We have our villain, Kim Se-Hee. We have our enforcer, Jung Hyun. We have our reluctant hero, Tae-Sik. We have our innocent heart, Si-woo. And we have our survivor leader, Ah-hyun. 5 central figures, all colliding in this twisted story. And the way they're introduced makes it clear this isn't going to be predictable. People will die, people will betray, and the line between victim and fighter will blur more and more. And that's what's exciting. Because yes, it's dark, yes, it's heartbreaking, but it's also layered with resilience. The very fact that these kids are still standing, still breathing, still fighting, that's resistance in itself. And every second of episode 1 makes you want to root for them harder. So to wrap up this reaction, episode 1 of The Defects doesn't just start a story. It grabs you by the throat, drags you into its nightmare world, and dares you to look away. But you won't. Because as brutal as it is, it's also magnetic. You want to see what happens next. You need to see it. And that, to me, is the sign of a powerful drama.